Alright everybody, this is it. Game 3 between Fnatic KawaiiRice spawning as our yellow Terran player on the right side of GSL dual site, and his opponent, none other than TenryuRH, spawning as our green Zerg on the left side of the map. Green to match the color of his surroundings, I like that. And yeah, we actually saw Tenryu win pretty convincingly last game. So can KawaiiRice come back and take game 3? We'll have to find out. Third place is on the line. I don't know, so far TenryuRH has played pretty well this tournament, and to take a game off of a player like KawaiiRice too is a very respectable thing. Of course, Tenryu is a Grandmaster on the North American server. To be fair though, KawaiiRice did do kind of a very, let's call it unique strategy last game, going for a 3-port Banshee, which is something that I think I've seen maybe once before. And unfortunately, if you go 3-port Banshee, your opponent, as we can see, can just go Roaches, and there's really not a whole lot you can do about it. He can put a lot of pressure on you while you try to get those Banshees out, and also, tech to Hydra fairly easily. Really, Zerg has a good amount of anti-air, and as long as you scout well, it's really tough to be caught in a position where you just can't handle it. I mean, we saw him almost get in that position just because Banshees do so much DPS, but if you know it's coming, you have time to make some more Queens, make some Spore Crawlers, so a Zerg can do, okay anti-air in Tier 1. Of course, we also saw him get a lair fairly quickly and then go right to Hydra, since that, of course, is a good decision too, since Hydra's kind of made to be anti-air, So a hatch first going down for TenryuRH, not too surprising. A lot of players do like to hatch first on this map, but I feel like it is a little bit more dangerous on this map than other maps just because the natural is fairly open. You can get Hellions behind here, but we'll probably see him get, fairly early Roach Warren and at least, at the very least, a couple Spine Crawlers and Queens on this map, like most Zerg players would be wont to do. And I think we're going to see KawaiiRice go ahead and, well, it all depends. If he puts a Tech Lab down after this Marine, nope, he's going to go ahead and get a Factory right away. So probably something similar to what we saw last game, maybe just a good old-fashioned Reactor Hellion expand. I've got a feeling both of these players are going to want to play, relatively standard and safe in this particular game, just because this is the last game of them for the tournament, no matter who wins. So they are going to definitely want to not take any big chances unless they think that it's going to pay off. Yep, and there's Factory right now for KawaiiRice, so judging by the fact that he's not making a Marine, he's going to probably just make the Reactor. There it is. And then we're probably going to see a Command Center come up fairly soon for him as well. Or 3 starports, who knows, you never know with him apparently. So right now TenryuRH is trying to drone up as much as he can, staying fairly even with KawaiiRice in the drone count, but that's just because once you get that second hatchery out, you can have that many more larvae, and you'll be able to produce drones and other units that much quicker. Queen's not out yet either, so at that point Terran should be keeping up in gatherers. And here comes the switch between the Factory and the Barracks. So we're going to see some Hellions reactored out, get some map control, possibly even cause some damage if he's lucky. But overall, just to keep him safe. That's the main objective of the Hellions in this. They aren't, some people are like, well, I have these units, I must attack with them. That's the only thing I can do with units that can do damage. I must just attack. But Hellions are very useful as well in just defensive purposes in early game TVZ, just to kind of move around the map, make sure you're not getting Baneling busted, make sure you're trying to kill creep tumors as your opponent tries to expand their creep. So Hellions have a lot of versatility, and we're finally seeing people kind of start to use those. Now we've actually got a second Factory on the way for KawaiiRice, so going to be going into something a little bit heavier as far as mech goes. Oh, and another Reactor going up on the Barracks as well. That's kind of interesting. Wonder what he's planning to do with that. Hellions getting in there, trying to do a little bit of scouting. Not going to be able to really cause any damage with the Spine Crawler there. The Queen blocking the ramp, and he will be able to kill a couple Lings at least. Oh, the Spine Crawler getting him burrowed, and KawaiiRice might try to use this opportunity to get some drone kills. It looks like he is. Yeah, TenryuRH trying to pull back his drones. I think he thought he could handle it with the Queens, but a little bit risky to do this. Actually comes out okay. KawaiiRice only killing 4 workers there. That could have been much worse for him. A little bit risky to unburrow your Spine Crawler when there are actually Hellions in your base, but Roaches are out now, so I think he should be okay. 4 more Hellions coming across the map. And look at this. KawaiiRice just is going to Reactor out 4 Hellions at a time from 2 factories. That's a little bit unique. You know, KawaiiRice is a really fun player to watch. He's got a lot of strategies that he does that you don't see very often. And with the amount of Hellions coming in, it doesn't really matter that there's a Spine Crawler there. He's going to be able to one-shot drones, do a decent amount of damage, and get away. Roach push coming across the map for TenryuRH, and is KawaiiRice going to be ready for that? You know, he has a good amount of Hellions, but is it going to be enough Hellions to take on Roaches? That's kind of the tricky part with this. He's going to have to try to defend as best he can with these Hellions, and I think he should have enough to take these Roaches out. Roaches do quite well against Hellions, but you know, the numbers are just high enough. It should be okay. Yeah, so he's going to lose a good amount of Hellions, but he is going to be able to hold off the Roach attack at least. Last Roach goes, and KawaiiRice lost, you know, about maybe a third of his Hellions or so. In the meantime, a little bit more droning up for TenryuRH. He is starting to pull ahead in the worker count, 35 to 29. KawaiiRice is going to be able to kind of keep with him once he starts making SCVs out of 2 command centers. And so we've got a Baneling Nest on the way for TenryuRH. Nothing else at the moment. He's going to wait till that lair finishes, and then we'll probably see some other tech. Seems to like to play in the typical Mutiling style, so wouldn't be surprised at all to see a Spire come up fairly soon for him then after that. And here comes KawaiiRice again with these Hellions, trying to roast some of the Roaches, and there are some Zerglings there as well, trying to get a bit of a surround, but there's not enough Zerglings, and some drones are indeed going to die, it looks like. Drones being lined up. Oh, and KawaiiRice just barely can't get there. He's going to kill a lot of units. He's actually going to get this Queen as well. Yep, he does get the Queen. Loses most of his Hellions, though, without really killing any drones, so I don't know if that's going to be the most cost-efficient thing. He's up to 15 workers killed right now. But, I don't know. That's the thing, I mean, when you deviate from a normal strategy like KawaiiRice is doing, you need to make it do damage. And I don't know actually if 15 drone kills are enough to warrant reactoring out Hellions out of 2 factories for such a long time. He's going to be going Reactored Hellion and Marauder, so it is a pretty good composition, but as we can see here, the Spire is on the way for TenryuRH. Where is it? There it is. There's the Spire, so of course, you know, once Mutas come out, those are going to do pretty well against Hellions and Marauders, because Hellions and Marauders actually can't hit Mutalisks. You know, I have to imagine that KawaiiRice is expecting this, though, so I wouldn't be surprised at all to see an Armory go down, and then a switch over between one of the barracks and the factories, just so that he can get some Thors out as well to handle the Mutas. But here comes the push for KawaiiRice. It is a bit of a scary push here. Using the Hellions again to go after Roaches. I maybe would have waited for the Marauders to catch up before doing that, but we wanted to just plain old take out some units. Nothing wrong at all with that. Scanning to take some creep tumors out too, so that's good. And here comes some Roaches, and this time the Roaches are not going to do well at all with those Marauders there. And TenryuRH may be actually in a bit of trouble here. Spire just finishing right now. Oh, and he's actually pretty lucky that KawaiiRice is checking for that 3rd base. KawaiiRice playing very, very safe, but that was really his only window of opportunity to do any damage with this. Because he, you know, at this point, once the Mutalisks come out, he can basically just suicide his units in and try to do as much as he can, because the Mutas are going to take this out very, very easily. KawaiiRice is about 30 supply ahead, though, so this is a bit dangerous. 6 Mutas on the way right now for TenryuRH. KawaiiRice scans, sees that, and he does see the Mutas as well, so he needs to make this do damage. This attack's days are numbered, and KawaiiRice, is he going to just move in, suicide the units to try to do damage, or is he going to pull back and lose a bunch of Mutas? Looks like he's just going to go for it. I think that's the right decision. I mean, you might as well at this point. You're going to lose all these units anyway, stimming the Marauders in. Kill the Spine Crawler, and just from his angle that he's going, he's not really going to be able to kill. Well, maybe he is going to be able to kill some drones. Oh, nice drone hits from those Hellions there. But overall, not doing a ton of damage. How many drones did he kill? He killed a few more. He killed 9 more drones. He's killed more units overall, but TenryuRH has kind of caught up at this point, and these Marauders are not going to be able to do a whole lot of damage. Yeah, TenryuRH is like, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to go ahead and counterattack. And look at this, not a lot of air defense at all for KawaiiRice right now. He's going to probably take some damage from this, no doubt about it. Producing a decent amount of Marines, that's going to help. You know, once he gets another wave off, there comes some reinforcements, so that's going to be, you know, enough to chase some Mutas away for now. but he's going to be chasing those mutas all over his base for a while, because there's no turrets up or anything like that. This is going to be so annoying for KawaiiRice to deal with. And look at this, during all of this, TenryuRH taking a gold base as well. Nice decision there. And yeah, he's just going to make those mutas, or make those Marines run back and forth between the two bases. He's also going to give TenryuRH a nice opportunity to drone up as well. So not bad overall for TenryuRH, putting some pressure onto KawaiiRice and starting to pull ahead in the supply. There's the armory going down, and KawaiiRice is going to want some Thors to help deal with this. Looks like some Marauders trying to get in and do some damage, but they get pretty quickly picked off. And KawaiiRice has actually not scouted this gold base yet. He doesn't know it's there. And now he's going to know it's there because he's actually going to go and scout it with his Hellions, so that's going to be good there. So he does find it. There's one queen there and a spine crawler being built as well. And look at this muta counterattack at the third, doing some damage to that command center. KawaiiRice knows that he's definitely behind right now. There's that fourth base going up as well. The problem is KawaiiRice really can't move out on the map right now. He doesn't have enough Marines and defensive units to hold his base and put pressure on his opponent. So TenryuRH is in this great position right now where he can basically do whatever he wants and keep the pressure on his opponent, expand a couple times. Feeling pretty good, I'd imagine. Some links going after this Hellion here, these Hellions, I should say. They don't have blue flames, so it should be okay. And the mutas are going to clean that up too. He needs to be careful though, he doesn't want to lose anything to the Marines. KawaiiRice is starting to get that amount where he can be a little bit more aggressive. His first Thor is on the way as well. There it is. There's Thor. But let's take a look at the worker count, 60 to 64. TenryuRH actually surprisingly behind the worker count. He has had to produce a lot of offensive units to deal with the aggression that KawaiiRice has brought his way. But now that he does have 4 bases, including the second gold, starting to get up, that's going to make his 5th base. It's going to be a little bit tougher for him, I think. It's going to be a little bit tougher for KawaiiRice, that is. He did manage to get his 3rd up, so that's good. And he does have a couple Thors out at the moment. So KawaiiRice definitely not out of this quite yet. The mutas are a bit of a threat, but he's handling it pretty well. Not trying to get overly aggressive, saying, alright, at this point in the game the map is yours. I just need to safely take my 3rd, and then maybe after that I can push out, and that's what he's doing. Marines do have stim, of course. No healing units, so every time the Marines stim, that's permanent damage. He does have that Thor, though, so Marines plus Thors are going to do quite well against the mutas. He's going to go for that gold base, and yeah, the mutas just can't come in and defend, and KawaiiRice is actually in a great position right now. Here come the Lings and the mutas in the back, though, but here comes some Hellions, though, and is KawaiiRice going to get trapped? He's going to lose his Thor. Hellions and Marines getting chased down by the Banelings. Thor does get taken out, and it looks like KawaiiRice barely pushed back by TenryuRH. Very close game right now. But overall, it still feels like TenryuRH is still in control. Getting that hive right away, and I would have to imagine he's going to want to try to get Broodlords out as quick as possible. There's some good spots to shoot down at this base from with Broodlords. You can fly them up here, and there's really not a whole lot your opponent can do about it. Thors don't do a lot of damage. KawaiiRice hasn't been producing any Vikings quite yet. Does he even have a reactor at Starport at this point? Let me see. Don't think he does. I saw him producing 1 medevac at once, but that was it. And at this point, Tenryu is starting to pull a bit ahead in supply as well. Now, KawaiiRice hasn't really been doing any sort of drop play or anything like that. He hasn't really had the leeway to. He hasn't really had the units to be that aggressive. I think we might see that change in the near future here. Yep. No Vikings on the way yet, though. Just a medevac or 2 to heal those Stim Marines. And a big push towards the gold. This is going to be a little bit tougher for Tenryu to handle, I think. Pulling some Marines back as well. You might lose this hatchery. It looks like Tenryu might just be planning on going for a counterattack here. And look at that. Hellions taking out a lot of drones there. But here's a big counterattack from TenryuRH. And what does KawaiiRice have to handle this? No Thors or anything like that. This could do a huge amount of damage. Baneling's blowing through the main. And TenryuRH is going to put the serious hurt on KawaiiRice. KawaiiRice trying to pull back as fast as he possibly can. But it may be too late if TenryuRH can kill a lot of his production buildings. That's going to be helpful. Baneling's getting into the mineral line. Not a lot of SCVs there yet, but they do kill pretty much everything that's still there. And now TenryuRH is going to probably run away with his mutas, leave the road just to die, but some damage has been done if we look at the worker count again. Actually, KawaiiRice staying pretty even. So TenryuRH being a bit annoying, taking out a production building or two, but other than that, not causing a huge amount of damage. KawaiiRice still staying in a big way. And a Zergling counterattack. It's not going to do a whole lot because of the planetary there. Just kind of throwing away some units. And it's not like he needs to free up supply or anything like that, so... Whoops. Greater Spire on the way for TenryuRH. He's going to want to get those Broodlords out. He's going to need to be careful about keeping some of his other units right now. KawaiiRice has kind of a scary army here. But Broodlords, to a large extent, do nullify siege tanks because Terran players don't want to be shelling their own units because of the Broodlings. KawaiiRice doesn't have any Vikings or anything like that just yet. And I hear Broodlords morphing, but it doesn't matter because this gold base is going to get taken out as well. TenryuRH losing his second gold base. So now I think is about the time to start panicking a little bit if you're TenryuRH. He needs to take out this army. Otherwise, he's going to have a really hard time winning this game. But he's spent so much money getting the Broodlords, getting the Broodlord tech set up that he doesn't really have a lot of units. Otherwise, it's kind of a small army here. Broodlords are out though, so it looks like he is going to be able to force KawaiiRice back. KawaiiRice does not have enough Marines right now to handle that. Yeah, and he does need to pull back right away. So for now, he's going to be fine. Now KawaiiRice, he has a starport producing one Viking at a time. Don't know if that's going to be enough to take on the Broodlords and the army, though. There are a good amount of Broodlords out on the map. 8 Broodlords out right now. This army is going to get absolutely annihilated. Using the Banelings on the tanks, I guess. And here come the Broodlords. How many Vikings does KawaiiRice have out right now? He's got one. One Viking. But, not the best engagement for Tenryu right there. All the Broodlings coming in right now. There's a good amount of Marines, but he can sacrifice some mutas. It's actually okay as long as he magic boxes them. It doesn't clump them up, which he's doing. He's clumping up his mutas. He's going to lose some with that. Needs to move some more Zerglings in here. I think that's going to be it, though. GG. KawaiiRice taken out. So TenryuRH is our third place winner for Last Player Standing Open number 2. Really well played by TenryuRH. Congratulations also to KawaiiRice for getting 4th place. So pretty exciting series there for the third place match. Let's move on to the finals again. Thanks for watching. I am Doa. See you on the next cast.